Sure.
First and foremost, I mean, we're talking about some frigid air heading our way this weekend.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the nor'easter too, and that is the reason it's so cold here. But first, I want to start with what's happening locally because, first of all, we have a wind chill advisory that's in effect for tonight. That's Hillsborough County and inland and northward. So Nature Coast out towards Polk County, even, Hardy, DeSoto, and Highlands County as well under this wind chill advisory tonight into tomorrow morning because despite the fact that we're going to be cooling down, and we're not going to be as cold as Sunday morning, the winds are going to be much stronger tonight and tomorrow. Gusting as high as 35, maybe close to 40 miles an hour along the coast from time to time. Combine that with actual temperatures, around the 40-degree mark, and especially up north in the 30s, it'll feel like the 20s. So the wind chill advisory is for feels like temperatures around 25. Now, the map you're looking at here, this is for Saturday night and Sunday morning, and here we have both a freeze watch and a hard freeze watch. So the hard freeze watch is for Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus County, Lake County as well, and then the freeze watch is for basically the rest of the area with the exception of Pinellas County and the coastline of Manatee County and Sarasota County. So it covers quite a bit of territory, as you can see. So, JB, I figured we'd take a look at the reason for this. The bottom line is it has to do with something called elongation or stretching of the polar vortex. Now, typically, you can kind of think of the polar vortex like a lasso. It lassos in the cold air, but every once in a while, the lasso becomes kind of like wobbly, if you will. Well, the jet stream, which is the lasso, kind of became a little wobbly, and that's allowing a piece of the polar vortex to escape south. When you do that, what ends up happening is that energy from up north and all that cold air collides with the Gulf Stream, and you get just an energized blockbuster storm that develops. And this one is going to be the equivalent of a Cat 3 hurricane. In fact, it's going to intensify so quickly that it's going to intensify at almost double the rate of the definition, the criteria for rapid intensification. And whenever you cause bombogenesis, whenever you cause a storm to intensify that rapidly, it throws off the pressure in the atmosphere. And to compensate for the pressure differential issues, the wind really starts to speed up fast and it drives that cold air south. So if you wanted a meteorological reason for why it's going to be so cold, this is the reason. So you can see that northwest wind's going to be blowing. It's going to be windy. It's going to be cold. Starting this evening, you'll notice if you're out and you don't need a jacket at 5 or 6, you will need a jacket at 10 or 11. Just keep that in mind. Do not leave without a jacket or maybe even a light coat if you're going to be out late tonight, because that's when the temperatures are going to tumble. And, the invasion forecast tomorrow, one of the things is a lot of folks were planning. I know some folks that have boats that were planning to take friends on boats, and I would not going to tell you what to do. I would just recommend it probably is going to be somewhat uncomfortable, and at worst could just simply be dangerous because, remember, there are a lot of boats all kind of piled into the same area. Small craft advisories, in effect, gusts are going to be around 40 knots, and the waters are going to be very, very rough out there. So I figured rather than talking for another 15 minutes, I should bring JB back into the conversation again.
Yeah, and we're going to we want to feature some of your hashtag Hey Jeff, hashtag Hey JB questions and comments, maybe, and shout out some particular towns or even counties across the Tampa Bay area. We can give you an idea as to roughly how cold it's going to be and when it's going to be the coldest. But when we're talking about the coldest, it's actually going to be post-Gasparilla, correct, Jeff? I mean, we're talking about Sunday morning bringing some really frigid, freezing temperatures across the area.
Yeah, the actual lows on Sunday morning will range from the mid-20s north and kind of east of the Gulf. And then in Tampa proper, downtown may actually get to 32. And then, west of that into Pinellas County, probably mid-30s. So that's how cold it's going to be. And there won't be much wind, although there will be a little bit of a wind chill on Sunday morning. But honestly, Saturday day for Gasparilla, in fact, I think that's the next graphic here. So let me press the button and see if we can show you that. There it is. Optimistically, we get to 51. It's never going to feel like 51. In fact, you can easily take 10 degrees off of those temperatures there. That's what it's going to feel like. So you can imagine that at times during the parade, it's going to feel like the low 40s. I wouldn't be surprised if some parts of our area, maybe even on Bayshore for a time when the wind blows strong enough, that it feels like the upper 30s during the day. Just to give you an idea, we're not used to that. The good news is, for everybody who has one winter coat and is like, I spent a lot of money on that winter coat and I really want to use it, well, you can kind of dust it off. Take it out of the closet because you will need it if you're going to Gasparilla tomorrow or through Sunday morning. We'll rebound a little bit on Sunday afternoon.
Let's take a look at some of the comments that are coming in, and let's you talking about some more of those inland counties. Again, shout out some counties, shout out some time frames, folks, and we'll do your best to.
Yeah, and
we'll
I have lots of maps, by the way.
What's that? I'm
I
sorry.
have lots of maps after this, which detail city by city, county by county. That
Sure.
kind of thing.
Well, let's get right into it then. Terry Nelson, hashtag JB. What about Polk County? And I preface everybody as a reminder: if you want us to bring your comment on screen and talk about where you are, or to address your question or comment, use hashtag HeyJB or hashtag HeyJeff. What do we have for Polk County, Jeff?
Yeah, so let's see if I can advance the map and show you exactly. But it's probably another map or two beyond this. But Polk County, so we have a wind chill advisory tonight. Wind chills will be as low as, I'd say, close to 30 degrees. That's tonight and tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow day in Polk County, you're probably 48 maybe for a high, but it'll feel like 40, maybe 38 at times. And then on Sunday morning in Polk County, we're looking at probably a solid, I'd say 27 degrees or so, depending upon where you are. And of course, I don't know exactly where you are in Polk County, but just to give you an idea of how cold it's going to be. And that is going to be the case for northern Hillsborough, same as Polk. Even for Hardy, DeSoto, and Highlands County, you'll probably be in the upper 20s. And on the Treasure Coast, you're going to be in the mid to upper 20s. So everyone, away from the water, away from the Gulf is going to be below freezing.
Let's get to, unless you want to continue with your graphics, or we can bring up some more comments, Jeff. It's up to you.
Yeah, well, let me just continue with this graphic, and then we can bring the next question.
You got it.
So watch what happens here. And this is kind of a rarity. We see this a couple times a year. This is an extreme example. When you take Arctic air and you push it all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, and then you tap the Gulf Stream, which is just to the east of Florida, so Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, water temperatures are warm. And they're a lot warmer than they used to be, actually. The Gulf Stream is warming faster than almost any body of water in the world because of, a warming climate. And so you get, all this cold versus warm, and there we go with this coastal bomb. So this nor'easter, which is going to have a pressure, for those of you who are nerdy like me, it's going to have a pressure somewhere around 965 millibars or so. So Hurricane Elsa, which hit us in the Tampa Bay area last summer, that had a pressure of like 990, 988. So the lower the number, the stronger the storm. So Charlie had a pressure of 940. Charlie was, Cat 4 hurricane, which was, disastrous for Southwest Florida. The pressure for this storm is going to be 960-ish. So it's not too much weaker than Hurricane Charlie was. But you can't, it's not an apples-to-apples comparison. You can't compare a nor'easter directly to a hurricane because they're different structures. But it gives you an idea of just how intense the storm's going to be. 2 feet of snow will be an understatement for parts of the coast. There's probably going to be some places that end up with 3 feet of snow. Coastal flooding. There will be wind gusts on Cape Cod and Long Island, especially Cape Cod, though, to 85, maybe even 90 miles an hour.
You got it, 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
We're talking.
In a snowstorm.
Yeah, I mean.
With snowfall rates of around 4 inches an hour.
That's quite literally snow blowing sideways.
It's a snow-a-cane or no blizzard-a-cane.
Like
something like that.
Shaking up a snow globe and basically being inside of that. It's going to be thoroughly insane. All right, so we got to bring that up. We got to bring that up for Florida really quickly, Jeff, because we have 3 commenters at least. Jay Barone, hashtag HeyJB. Will we see snow?
There's no moisture.
Spencer Fernandez, hashtag HeyJB. Is snow possible? And one more, Jen Iancelli, or Iancelli, hashtag HeyJB. What are the chances of us actually getting snow?
These are great questions, and it's not impossible, but it looks like by the time the cold air gets in here, the moisture is gone. So it's cold enough for snow. There's no doubt about that. It's just the moisture will be gone by the time. There is always some chance that, so when you get a strong northwest wind off of the Gulf of Mexico, you actually create clouds. It's instead of lake effect snow like we see on Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, Lake Superior, we get Gulf effect clouds. And every once in a while, you might get a little precipitation from that. So it's not totally out of the possibility for the Nature Coast, where you might right along the immediate coast, like right in Hernando Beach or something, that you could get a flurry. It's not completely out of the question, but the atmosphere is bone dry. So it's going to be tough for that to happen. But there are special situations. The snow back in 1977 that we always talk about every year, that was caused by Gulf effect snow. So it can happen. But there was a lot more moisture present at the time the cold air was coming in.
I'm a numbers guy. Give me a percent chance that we see a sprinkle,
Well, when
a
you
flurry
say
of snow.
I mean, it's only going to be like 1 or 2 towns on the Nature Coast if it were to happen. So the chance you're going to see it is 0.
Okay. Nature Coast?
Huh?
Nature Coast?
I'd like 10%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's unlikely. And honestly, I'd be lying if I said I really examined that, because I haven't looked that closely at whether or not we might see a flurry, because the chances are so slim. And obviously our bigger problem is making sure the pets are inside, making sure you're taking the plants inside. Make sure you take the husbands inside. Do not leave them out. It's not fair to us, okay?
Yep.
You want to see the temperatures, JB? Because I'm sure that a lot of people have temperatures about their towns.
Yeah, I want to see this. I want to see the temperatures for Sunday morning.
All right, let's start on Friday, because that's today. So today we're feeling like the 60s to near 70. So Saturday morning, these are actual temperatures. These are not feels like temperatures. So actual temperatures dip into the upper 30s on the Nature Coast. Now you might say to yourself, well, how could there be a wind chill advisory? It's not going to be that cold. But yeah, the winds are going to be, you can see those arrows, those yellow arrows. Those are gusts to 35, 40 miles an hour. So you can shave 10 to 15 degrees off of those temperatures. So if Carrollwood is 43, it's probably going to feel like 30. You know, if Bradenton and Sarasota are 47, it's probably going to feel like 35 or 32. So that's why we have the wind chill advisory for some parts of our area. These are the actual temperatures, by the way. So Saturday afternoon, I mean, you know, the models tend to underestimate the temperatures a bit. So right now, the highest this model gets is the European model, which is one of our most accurate models, is forecasting low to mid 40s. So they're not forecasting temperatures in the 50s. Oftentimes, though, the temperature ends up being a few degrees warmer than what the European says. So I wouldn't be surprised if most of us stayed in the upper 40s. There may be a couple of towns that briefly break 50 degrees, but for all intents and purposes, it's going to be in the 40s the majority of the day. It's going to feel like the upper 30s to low 40s all day. And then the temperatures by Sunday morning.
Yeah, here we go.
This is what you want to see. I was holding out on you, but here it is. So 27 in Brooksville, 27 in Crystal River, 28 in Lakeland, 29 in Lake Wales, Carrollwood 30. The city of Tampa proper, 32. The airport, probably 34. And then Pinellas County, you're generally in the low to mid 30s. The one exception to that is Oldsmar. I think Oldsmar probably will drop to around 32 degrees. Down along the coast of Sarasota, notice Englewood, you're 34, 35, so you're not much different than Pinellas County there. But inland, Mayaca City will drop to 32 degrees.
Facebook Live, you guys seeing this? You guys seeing 20s in Lakeland and Lake Wales? I mean, that's quite literally mind-blowing.
How about wind chills?
We've got, let's see some wind chills.
Well, do we have a question about something?
We have dozens of questions.
Something related to temperature or wind chill, or if it's not, I can...
Well, how about this one? I want to get Essie's question, because it's a great question. You were talking about bringing in your pets, but Essie Hollinsworth saying #AJB, #Jeff, how will this affect wildlife
iguanas
in Florida?
will fall from trees.
Iguanas,
so we know that.
We know. Are there any others that are worth mentioning?
Well, sure. I mean, any animals that are not used to the cold. So if you're, but of course, ranchers know this, right? Farmers and ranchers who have animals, they know. I'm not an expert on this. I mean, I just came from Manhattan. Although I should tell you that I lived and worked the majority of my adult life in Florida. But still, I'm not an expert on what kind of animals can tolerate the cold and which can't. But what I can say is, yes, if your dog is the kind of dog that generally stays outside at night, and probably aren't too many of those, but if you have a dog that stays in a doghouse outside, you might want to bring that dog inside. Take a look at the wind chills. So here we are Saturday morning, and this is why we have a wind chill advisory. Just about everybody's feeling like the 30s, with the exception of Crystal River. You're feeling like the 20s. And then during the day, watch these wind chills. I'm going to press the button here, and we're going to advance the graphic. I mean, low 40s, mid 40s, maybe 50 in the southern part of our viewing area. That's what it's going to feel like. But really from Tampa north, it feels like the upper 30s and low to mid 40s. And then Saturday evening, everybody feels like the 30s basically. And by Sunday morning, this is cold.
Yikes.
Wind chills are in the literally mid 20s, even for Hardy, DeSoto, and Highlands County. So you bring Wauchula, Arcadia, Newport Ridge, you feel like 25. Brooksville, you feel like 23. St. Pete, you feel like 29. So we're all in the ice box together on Sunday.
Yeah, and I want to. So here's what we're going to go through a lot of the. File in your #HeyJB. I know many of you have. We have a ton of them in the queue. #HeyJeff, #HeyJB, questions and comments. We'll try to go as rapid fire, Jeff, maybe through as many of these as possible, because we have a lot to get to.
Yeah, and by the way, let me just call your attention to what's on the screen too.
Sure.
This shows you exactly where the freezing line is going to be.
Oh, okay.
So this is really useful. So where you see the white line, anybody to the left of that is above freeze. Thank you for taking that full. Look at you. You're such a good director.
Yeah.
So it's above freezing to the left of the line. and it's below freezing to the right of the line. So Northport, you're below freezing. Myakka City, you're below freezing. But Bradenton, you're slightly above freezing. Most of Pinellas County, with the exception of places like Oldsmar, maybe Tarpon Lake, will be above freezing. But east of that, Keystone, Trinity, Carrollwood, Tampa, Blooming, it's all freezing or below. And along, obviously, the Nature Coast, just about everybody is below freezing, with the exception of like Hudson and Bayonet Point, which my grandmother used to live in that area about 20 years ago.
I had to be living in the purple area and not the blue area. Folks, here's what I want to do with Facebook Live. If you like this cold, if you're all about this cold, I want you to throw a thumbs up emoji in the comment section. But if you're not about this, if you think this is too cold for your Gasparilla weekend or your end of January weekend in Florida, if you came down here for Florida for warmer temperatures, and you're thinking what gives, give me that freezing. What's the frigid face emoji? There's like an emoji where the face is like frozen, like with icicles. That's the one. That's the one that
I'm considering moving further south. I don't know about you.
Yeah, Jeff was here, our chief meteorologist, for a matter of weeks, and then said Miami was more his speed. And then
Miami. I'm heading further south than that. I'm going to Cuba.
There you go.
I'm going anywhere into the Caribbean. I'm going to Jamaica.
How about Susan winning? Hashtag Hey Jeff. I love this. Nice change from the incessant oppressive heat there as well. There's someone who likes it.
I think there's a lot of people who probably like it. It's just that I, have spent the last several winters living in New York, and I think I hit my breaking point with the cold, and my blood had thinned because, like I said, about more than 15, like 17 of the last 20 years, or 25, 17 of the last 25 years, I lived in Florida. So my blood is thin, and it never thickened back up when I went back north. Once your blood is thin, once you're a Floridian,
you're done
there's
for.
no going back.
Yeah, you get soft, I think is the word that some people use.
I was always soft, so.
Jerry Cannon throwing up a thumbs up, likes the cold. Cassandra throwing up the thumbs up, as well as Debbie. And then you've got Wendy, Kellyanne, Kim, Hazel, Edric, D, all with the freezing cold. I'll do my best impression of it. It's like, it's that emoji.
We should win an Emmy for that. Can you win an Emmy? A Webby
emoji.
A Webby? Is that?
Yeah, right. Quality journalism here on WFLA Now.
Do you like stats? Can I do some nerdy stats here?
Sure. How about this one from Nancy though, real quick? Nancy Lyons just wants to know, because you were talking about hurricane strength winds earlier. Oh, yeah. Will we be getting the hurricane strength winds in Florida?
It's a good question. No. We'll have gusts to maybe 40. Those hurricane force gusts are confined to southeast New England. And, if you've been following Boston at all over the past few years, they've had their 2 or 3 worst floods, the coastal floods in history, just in the past couple of years. And that's, of course, because sea levels are rising. At the same time, we're getting these bigger nor'easters. In fact, if you want some really cool science, we're about to get into that. So I'm going to answer. Let me just show you the stats page.
Sure, let's do it.
And I have some cool stats if you're into like nerdy stuff, geeky weather or any kind of science stuff. It's going to knock your socks off, I promise. It's really, really interesting stuff. But first, before we do that, I want to give you some stats here. So the last time we were below 32 was 2018. Question is, how often do we get below 32? Well, you may be surprised to hear that more often than not. So just about every other year on average, so 59% of years actually, we typically get below 32. You might say to yourself, well, I don't remember getting below 32. I've been living here for a decade. It's true. Over the past decade, we've only actually gotten to 32 in Tampa proper. Tampa, again, we're not talking Polk County or the Nature Coast, talking Tampa, the official reporting site. It's only happened one time. So what is the chance that you could go 10 years and only get to 32 degrees one time, JB? If statistically, historically speaking, you should get to 32 60% of years. What are the chances that would only happen once out of every 10 years? I want to see what you say.
I'm not. I need to go landscape mode on my calculator to bring up some.
I know it's a tough one. I had to actually ask the Twitterverse for the answer because this is a hard calculation. It's not a hard calculation, but I just didn't feel like digging into my textbooks, my college textbooks.
So,
do you want to take a guess? Take a wild guess.
You're asking what are the odds that we have it only once in a decade?
If it's normal every other year, essentially it's normal for it to every 60% of years we should hit 32. Yeah. So what's the chance? Because the last 10 years we've only done it one time. What's the chance that could happen?
15%.
It's 1 in 500.
Wow. So that's way less than 15%.
So why is that? Is the question? Well, let me show you why. I think I have the answer for you right here. It's because since 1970, Tampa's winter temperatures have gone up 4.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So our winters are 4.5 degrees warmer today than they were in 1970. That's only 50 years ago. So now, you know, when we get to 37 right now, which happens a few times a year, or at least a couple of times a year, that's the equivalent of getting to 32 degrees back in 1970. So we're starting at a much higher baseline. That was pretty cool, right?
That is very cool.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's a little nerdy. I know. I give you that. I have much better science coming your way after a few more questions, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm just curious because, Jeff, everyone, for those of you who might have missed our previous introductory live stream with Jeff Berardelli, our new chief meteorologist here at WFLA News Channel 8, we're thrilled, just thrilled to have Jeff. Jeff brings a very rich background in studying climate to our Max Defender 8 weather team. So I'm seeing here, and I'll throw it up here on your screen. Climate Central is a company that brings us some of these cool graphics.
That data comes from, if you really could see the fine print there, that data comes from one of the 5 data sets. Probably a NOAA. It's probably a NOAA. If it's not a NOAA data set, it could be University of Alabama. It could be Berkeley. It could be NASA. It could be the European Meteorological Center. I can't see it because it's too small on the screen there in the middle. But
yeah, it's really small.
Yeah, source is it's really hard to tell.
rccacis.org.
Yeah,
maybe?
I'm not 100% sure. But basically all of the data sets like NASA, NOAA, and all these data sets, they tell the same story. They're very, very similar. So Climate Central is just a nonprofit organization that makes these science graphics. That's all. They're just taking the data and putting them on a graphic. But I should say my background is both in meteorology. So I went to Cornell 25 plus years ago, whatever it was, got my atmospheric sciences degree, and then about 5 years ago went back to Columbia University, got my master's degree in climate. So I have these dual backgrounds, and it's because, you know, things are changing. I mean, big time. And I'm about to explain something interesting about nor'easters. They're becoming a lot stronger, and we're seeing a lot more of them, but it's not just a little more. We've seen over the past decade quadruple the number of high-impact nor'easters than we used to see per decade. I mean, quadruple. Think about that. So then I'll show you that page in a second, but I know there's probably some questions.
Oh, yeah, a whole bunch. So again, if you're still with us, #HJB, #HJF in the Facebook Live comment section. We'll try to bring in some of the comments. But Sarah Hansen, I can't imagine now how Sarah feels. #HJB, watching from Colorado, but you're actually getting colder than us here in Colorado.
Yep.
So some areas of the country they've got to be laughing. They've got to be laughing at us having a mini freak out over hitting, you know, sub-freezing temperatures or you know, beneath freezing temperatures. And here we are, and we're like rushing to the store, buying up all the eggs.
Everything's relative.
Right.
Bread and milk. But for Floridians.
Floridians, we're not used to this, folks. We're not used to this weather. So, yeah, it's weird seeing the...
But that's what happens, JB, right? Yeah. When it's cold in one part of the country, it's like a seesaw. The jet stream's like a seesaw. It's about half of the country will be covered under warm air, and about half of the country will be covered under cold air. So when it's cold in the west, it's warm in the east, and when it's cold in the east, it's warm in the west, and when it's warm in the you get it. You get what I'm saying? It's cold in the west, it's warm in the east.
The weather seesaw, if you will. And Florida, it's our turn. It's our turn for one weekend to get a little bit cold. Jeff went to Cornell. I used to live near Cornell.
Oh, right.
Hello to folks in Corning, New York.
Oh, yes. Did I tell you I took some classes at Corning Community College?
I did not know that. No, that's pretty cool. Look at that. Corning, New York, one of my favorite.
That's where your Corning wear comes from, everybody.
Yes. The glass on your iPhone or the glass in your kitchen with your kitchenware. Anyway, not too far away from Cornell University. I know bitter, bitter cold. I'm used to 32 being a very warm day.
Toasty.
Yes, a great day. One jacket instead of two.
So to give you an idea, when I was at Cornell, 3 times it got down to 24 below zero. Okay? 3 times at a special observing site.
I'm laughing only to keep from crying. That's the only reason that I'm laughing, because tears can literally freeze on your face pretty much at that level of cold. How about rapid fire? You ready for the rapid fire round?
Sure, but I want to do this. I have this one geeky, which is really cool. So can I do this first?
Let's go geeky graphics next,
right.
and then we'll go rapid fire.
Okay, so the map you're looking at are sea surface temperatures, departure from normal. So the yellow and the orange is where it's been above normal, and the blue is where it's been below normal right now, actually. Look off the northeast coast. This is always the case. That really pops out, right? It's the place that's warming the fastest, the brightest reds, the brightest oranges in those colors. It's the place that's warming the fastest on the globe, or one of the fastest, not necessarily the fastest, but that's also where the Gulf Stream is. You can see the Gulf Stream brings warm water up from the Gulf of Mexico and from the east coast of Florida up the eastern seaboard, and that's why we have that strip of warmer water. But that area is also warming much faster than the rest of the globe, and the reason is because Greenland is melting, and it's pushing fresh water into the North Atlantic. It's disrupting all the ocean currents, and it's slowing the Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream itself has slowed down about 15% in its speed over the past 100 years, and we expect that to continue. Now, the Gulf of Maine is warming really quickly. What happens here is when the Gulf Stream slows down, everything kind of backs up like a pipe. And so the warm water is piling up in the Gulf Stream, and that's why it's warming so fast there. Believe me, I promise this has a bearing on your forecast for Florida and for this big nor'easter as well. And as a result of that, the Gulf of Maine is warming faster than 99% of the globe. So the area off Cape Cod where this big nor'easter is just starting to form. So what happens? Well, when you have all this extra energy, you get something called bombogenesis. The storms rapidly intensify, and they become even stronger and stronger. That's why this is going to be the equivalent of a Cat 3. So because of climate change, this particular region is in fact warming faster than the rest of the globe, and because of that, we're seeing a tremendous increase in nor'easters. So look at this. It's hard to believe even for a meteorologist. So high impact northeast winter storms is what you're looking at. So back in the 1950s and 60s, we used to see 5 or 6 or 7. Same thing in the 60s and 70s, 70s and 80s, 80s and 90s, 90s and 2000s. But then all of a sudden, in the past 10 to 12 years, we've seen 25 high-impact northeast winter storms.
This graphic is crazy.
It's crazy because it's warming so quickly off the northeast coast of the U.S. You probably heard that lobsters are moving north. That Cape Cod is losing their lobsters, but actually Canada, Prince Edward Island, they're seeing more lobsters because the lobsters are moving north. Being chased by the warming waters and moving north to find the colder water. So that just gives you an idea of how climate change is having a real impact. And because this storm is so explosive, it's driving down the coldest air we've seen in years. If it wasn't so warm off the coast of New England, this storm would not be quite as strong. It'd still be a strong nor'easter, but not nearly as strong and not nearly as impactful. And so as a result of that, we're seeing heavier snows in New York City and Boston than we used to see, which is totally contradictory to what you would expect of climate change, right? It's the complete opposite, but there's more moisture available and there's more energy available to power bigger storms. So if it's cold enough for snow, it falls as heavier snow. So there you go. It's pretty nerdy, huh?
Yeah, no, but this graphic in and of itself is pretty mind-boggling.
Yep. And this comes from NOAA. This is not something I made up. This comes directly from NOAA.
Yeah, pretty unbelievable. When you look at just how many storms, as we look, a beautiful shot here. Hey, some jet skiing going on right outside of our tower cam. You're looking at beautiful Tampa Bay today, cold Tampa Bay on Saturday in the future, and then Sunday morning, of course, just being way too cold for our comfort. Let's get to some of the questions. Andrea wanted to let you know, though. Andrea says, #HeyJeff, interesting information.
I'm glad you liked it, Andrea. It's funny because I get different comments. I had one person that was really angry that I talked about this last night on the air, and I had someone else say that in the 68 years that he's been here, it's the most informative weathercast he's ever seen. I had one person that wanted to probably slash my tires, and another one who wanted to invite me to dinner. But I guess that's just the internet these days, right?
Well, welcome to being on air. Yeah. Wait till you hang out on the internet with me a little bit more, and you'll see some interesting.
You get interesting comments, don't you?
Yeah, I do. How about an interesting comment? I've seen this one, of course, and you're used to this. But William Bright asking in relation to the nor'easters, in relation to what you were just talking about, #HeyJeff, is this because of global warming?
I love that question because it's the perfect question. So climate change doesn't cause anything necessarily. It would have happened anyway. Climate change just enhances it, spikes it, magnifies it, amplifies it. So this storm in the Northeast probably would have been a strong nor'easter, but not a rare nor'easter, because this is a really intense one, Cat 3 equivalent to a hurricane. So it wouldn't have been as strong. Climate change makes it that much stronger because of the rapidly warming water. The waters are just like 4, 5, 6, 7 degrees warmer than they should be off the coast of Cape Cod right now.
Next question's coming in from, let's see. Oh, well, Denise just wanted to point out, hashtag, hey, JB, yes, I can attest to that. My friends are up in Connecticut and laughing at us. Yeah, I would imagine.
We can laugh at them when it's like 70 or 80.
That's true, too. We do plenty of, laughing and giggling about how warm it is versus some other areas of the country. How about Brittany Borgner, hashtag, hey, Jeff, what temps? How about Daytona Beach, popular spot here in Florida? Daytona Beach going to get cold?
Yeah, it's going to be just as cold. Temperatures will be in the as low as the 20s. So, yeah, for sure, it's going to be cold up there.
All right, rapid fire. Amy Lake, hashtag HJB, love this weather. Originally from Pennsylvania. At least there's no snow, no humidity. How does humidity factor in real quick, Jeff, if at all, during this time of year?
Well, you can't really get any precipitation without humidity. So this storm is kind of bringing in all that humidity and moisture from the Atlantic Ocean. But for us, it's going to be dry. We're going to say dry north winds. So we're not going to really have much humidity at all.
Deb Bryant, hashtag HJB. We moved from Utah to Arizona 4 years ago. Don't think I could handle the weather in Utah again.
Yeah, but you only have to do it for like 2 days.
Right. And you move down south, you get comfortable, and then before you know it, you you get stuck where you move south to. Just ask them. Okay, Sarah's comment we just had. Carol Alford's, she's on it. Hashtag HJB. She's joining us from Clearwater. She says, all the errands are done, Jeff. She says she's going to be staying inside with my TV on, binge watching. Stay safe to all in this line of the nor'easter. Hey, I want to hear from folks. If you're in on Sunday, if you're hanging out with us, if you're among the 550 or so people hanging out with us right now on Facebook Live, what are you binge watching? What are the best shows? What are you looking forward to clicking on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon? I want to hear about it.
I think I just started watching. I just started watching Ozark, the new season of Ozark.
I think that's the one
I've only gotten through because I have a newborn, folks at home. If you don't know me yet, I have a baby girl, Gracie Lee. She's
follow him on Facebook and get some really cute photos of little Gracie Lee. By the way,
really cute photos. Now I realize I'm a little biased, but she's adorable. I just have to say that. But anyway, so because of that, I've only gotten through like half of an episode of Ozark. Anyone who's a parent would understand why you only got through half.
Yeah.
So don't tell me how it ends, the first episode.
No, and that's, I think, the one we're going to start on Sunday. Maria, hashtag AJB. I'm in Duval County. Should I leave the faucets on tonight and Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. So if you have a pool, for instance, you want to keep the filter running. That's, keep the water running if you possibly can do it. I don't think you have to worry too much about leaving the faucets on. They shouldn't freeze that quickly. I mean, honestly, I've been here a long time, and I've not seen that happen. But then again, Duval County is not, much further north. So I would say that, I'm not an expert on your area.
That was a comment from earlier. Yep. Hold on, I'm trying to load up this next one. When my eyes are looking this way, folks, because I'm looking at your comments in the comment section. And just really quickly, I'm seeing a lot of Ozark comments so far. Some Yellowstone from Belinda. Hello, Belinda. Says she's watching Yellowstone. Oh yeah, and then Jenny Lee bringing up a great point. We've got some great football to watch on Sunday, and Andrea saying as well, watching
I'm boycotting football the rest of the season.
Some of the Marvel content. Because of the Bucks?
Because the Bucks are not in it anymore.
Still some great football left to play.
I know.
I think it's gonna be a good weekend of football. Dixie Jordan, check this out. Hashtag HJB. Yesterday we had a negative 17-degree day in Pennsylvania. Says I'm coming down next week.
Dixie should be able to go to the beach on Saturday and Sunday down here.
Yeah.
I mean, given the negative 17 that they just went through there.
32 next is negative 17. Tropical. Get your margarita out. Right. A little umbrella drink. That kind of day. And then Joanna, hashtag hey Jeff, what will the water temperatures be? Oh, thinking about the manatees. We've got a couple of manatee comments.
It's a really good point. So on the news yesterday, and we did a story on it. Apparently, not many manatees are being seen around here right now because they've already escaped. The cold was cold a couple of weeks ago. So a lot of the manatees have probably moved south already. Still, it's a concern. You may not know this because you probably heard a lot of manatees have died in the past year. About 1,100 last year alone. 1,100 manatees died. A lot of them because they're starving, because there's no seagrass in the Indian River Lagoon. But what you may not know is that's 15% of the manatee population in Florida. So So think about it. If 15% of the human population died, everybody would be like beside themselves. But when you say that 1,000 manatees died, unless you know that that's 15% of the population, maybe it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's a really big deal, just to let you know.
Yeah, we've had a lot of comments about the manatees.
The manatees go to power plants. I think you probably know that. Not you, but everyone who's watching probably knows. They go to power plants. They hang out by the outflow, and
you'll see them. You'll see
they know
them
where to
grouped
go.
Together. You'll see them grouped together as well. Sandra Pitts, #HJB. I'm in Polk County. Do I need to turn the faucets on in Polk County?
You know, again, I don't think you do. It's going to probably drop below freezing for 3 or 4 hours. I would just say use your experience. If you've been in Polk County for a while and it's happened to you where your pipes actually froze, then I would, by all means, I would take the precautions. But again, I'm not an expert on this. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not a plumber. Honestly, you would not want me to come and repair your home. It would be a disaster. So
Eric and Renee Parker wanting to see snow flurries. Again, the chances of that
very slim,
extremely slim. Last one we're gonna take, Robin Groom, #HeyJeff. You know, we really tailor our streams on WFLA Now to our Tampa Bay and our Florida audience. But Robin joining us from the Cape Cod area. Saying, binge watch, I'll be happy if we don't lose power here.
Yeah, I have
Cape
to tell
Cod.
you, that happens all the time on Cape Cod. And there's going to be some, you know, you've been through storms over the past few years where you've had 80, 90 mile an hour wind gusts, and I think this is going to be one of them. So just batten down the hatches. If you have a way to have a backup generator or something like that, it would be a good idea because, you know, the chances of you losing power are pretty decent.
Folks, that's going to do it for us here on WFLA Now. Let's thank WFLA Chief Meteorologist Jeff Berardelli for joining us here on WFLA Now.
My pleasure.
He'll be on the air tonight, of course, on WFLA News Channel 8.
And check out my article on the website.
Oh, yes.
I wrote an article, and it talks all about how nor'easters are changing and how that impacts the Florida's weather.
Yes. Click on the link in the description on this video or go over to WFLA.com, WFLA app, especially for the folks that really appreciate more of a, you know, a more scientific-based
that's what
explanation.
It is. It's a deep dive.
Deep dive into Jeff's article. It's just great. Give it a click, everybody, and you'll see Jeff tonight on WFLA News Channel 8. All of our content, all of our top stories of the day, including really the biggest story right now is just all of this cold Arctic air heading our way to the Sunshine State of Florida. It's all on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. Again, a big thank you to Chief Meteorologist Jeff Berardelli, who you'll see on air tonight. And again, click on the link for the latest content on WFLA.com and the WFLA app.